Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to my review of Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode 6. So I'm not sure if this will be posted before or after my reaction. Last week I didn't do a review because the episode just made me feel so much that I couldn't discuss it afterwards. I just felt a lot. And it was a 10 out of 10 for me anyway, so I didn't really feel like unpacking and analyzing. But today, I do have a lot to say with regard to the episode. And I just want to start by saying that I'm so happy to see Thank You Mappa trending on Twitter. A reminder that if it weren't for Mappa Studio, we wouldn't get a continuation in anime. Be more thankful, guys. And there was another one that I saw that said something about here. Use this, thank you Mappa, to thank Mappa for their hard work. Don't insult the staff. Criticism is necessary, insult is not. Thank you. In my reaction at the end of it, I did briefly mention that I heard one of the staff of Mappa, the director or someone, had to close their Twitter account because of the amount of people that flocked there and sent hate, terrible things. And I just said, like, don't do that. Really don't do that. So this week, I'm just so happy to see people are changing their tune a bit, or, people are just highlighting their thankfulness to outshadow the negativity, because there will always be negative people. It's not just in the Attack on Titan community, but the Attack on Titan community is one of the worst because I think the fans are just so passionate. I don't know. But it is something that is present in most fandoms, that negative side. So I think we should be more vocal about our appreciation. And like this tweet says, criticism is necessary, insult is not. It's fine to feel like, I think this could have been better, I think that could have been better, but, you can voice your opinion in the comment section on Crunchyroll, you can voice your opinion on Twitter, but what's the point of, personally attacking anyone, because you don't like something about a show, okay? So, yeah, I think we're allowed to say what we don't like, but there's a way to go about it, okay? So now that I have highlighted that, if you guys have Twitter, feel free to go and hashtag thank you Mappa or retweet some of the existing tweets. Damn, I don't even know where to start with today's review, because this episode was, I'm probably going to give it somewhere around a 9 to 9.5. It wasn't perfect for me. The only thing that I can think about that was a little bit distracting was just the CGI wasn't bad. It was good in my opinion, but sometimes it was a bit distracting, the transition between CGI and, I don't know why I noticed it. Some people mentioned the same thing about episode 1, but I didn't see it in episode 1. But in this episode, I did notice just slightly the CGI was a little bit taking me out of it, because I noticed when they were using CGI. And I think that was because of the transition between using CGI and not using CGI, and the characters looking a little bit different when they use CGI. So let's start with the score. I guess that's the easiest place to start. My score for episode 6. The visuals would probably be my lowest score, and I still think it should be an 8.5. It's still very good. The visuals were still very good. It was just not as good as I think it could have been, maybe, if they didn't use CGI, but I don't think it was bad at all. 8.5. Phew. 10 out of 10 for the audio. The audio stood out a lot to me in this episode, but it was the opening, just how they've used it, or how every episode it just kind of puts you right in that Attack on Titan mood, and then the ending song, it kind of... it's like you watch this episode and then that ending song is so fitting. I love that they chose an ending song that seems to work so far for every ending, at least in the first 6 episodes. So I have to give 10 out of 10 for the audio. The music was, considering that every single moment of this episode was action, 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 something was happening, shit was going down. Mikasa's arrival, the music that played then, it was just, for me, perfect. I don't think they could have done anything better with regards to the opening, the ending, the OST, or background music, the voice acting, everything was perfect in my opinion. The story, 10 out of 10. The pacing was perfect. The emotions underlying each scene, the horror, how they went about showing everything, how they wove it together, you know, everything going on. It was so much chaos. And to me, it didn't feel... I could feel the chaos without it being like, what the fuck is going on? Okay, so 10 out of 10 for story from me. Characters, whew, I got worked up in this episode because of Eren. But thankfully, Mikasa was there to show me that they know. He kind of seems to have gone off on his own and didn't think things through, didn't talk it. Maybe he did think things through in his head, but he didn't talk it out with them. He just went on and did all of this, and now look at where it's gotten them. But it makes sense for his character. I think it doesn't excuse anything he's done. I am so frustrated with him. He's in the wrong 110%. But obviously, because I've seen him grow up, you know, we saw him see his mother get eaten right in front of him. We saw him go through training. We saw him die, basically, and then come back to life, and then save Armin, and then died. Okay, so that happened first. And, you know, so obviously I would be closer to him, and I would be sadder about his descent into devilhood. I mean, I don't think it's productive, or it makes any difference. I don't think you should see someone as a devil, but that does truly feel like, how else could I see him when he turns into a monster and rushes? Like, he knew what he was going to do with regards to the innocent people that were around there. I think there was better ways to go about it. I talked about this in the reaction, okay? Just a little bit, and I will go more in depth about it now. There's two things with regards to this whole he had a choice, he didn't have a choice discussion. And let's start first with a comment from someone else that I found interesting. This is from Belak Thrillaby. Those people don't realize how much they're missing the whole point. In their opinion, obviously they think that's people who say Eren didn't have a choice, they're kind of missing the point of the story. Isayama wants the audience to question these decisions. What makes Attack on Titan such a rich story is that there aren't easy or obvious answers, and I had no choice is the easiest answer of them all. So I would say that anyone who says Reiner or Eren had no choice aren't fully engaging with the material. So that's what they would say. It's not an objective fact, it's just how they feel. And I agree. If you think that, if you argue either for Reiner or either for Eren and just say, oh, they didn't have a choice, I feel like you might not be seeing a major theme in the story about personal responsibility. And okay, but anyway, our characters are facing impossibly difficult situations, and through watching them make and struggle with their choices, we can hopefully learn something about ourselves and what it is to be human. That may sound like a reach, and obviously not everyone will go as deep with their experience of the series, but if you're willing to engage, the story can definitely take you there. And the only reason I agree with this is because, you know, in the episode with when we find out about Reiner and them and how when they were on the way to Paradis, and we saw Annie and who was with them? Marcel? Yes. We saw them doubting. We saw them wanting to make different decisions. And Reiner was like, no, this is our choice. This is what we're going to do. And despite having seen the characters thinking differently than Reiner, seen the characters wanting to maybe take different course of action, despite how it might have turned out or not turned out, people still argue that they didn't have a choice. And I'm like, but the story legit just showed that they could have, they wanted, no, okay, no choice. If that's what you want to believe, fine. But don't scream at me for saying something else or seeing something else in the story. And I feel the same way about Eren here. I don't think that was what he wanted to do. He should have done. I think he had another choice. I think he could have done. They could have gone about things differently. He played right into Tiber's hands. He proved him right. He could have, if the reason the world, as they've said in this episode, the reason the world is now going to rally against them so much more vehemently, and be almost, I want to say, justified in doing so, justified in seeing them as devils, at least, or not justified, not factually, but they will feel so justified, so much more, because Willie Tiber was right in that moment. That's what they saw. Eren proved him right. And that is why it's so frustrating to me if he had gone about things differently, and he had different choices. Don't tell me he didn't. I mean, you can believe it, but don't try and tell me he didn't, because he did have different choices. There was other ways about fighting back without becoming the monster that they accused you of being. Because all you did was prove him right. And then there's something else that I wanted to tell people. I don't stand by what Eren did here. He's my favorite character in the show. I don't like him anymore as a person because he made the wrong choice here, my friend. He was wrong. But as a character, I think he's my favorite character because even though I don't agree with what he did, it makes sense for his character because after everything he's been through, it's interesting to see how he developed to this. I wish he developed differently, like, in a perfect world. But for the story's sake, I think he's still a great character. He's still one of my favorite characters. I don't love him like a son anymore. I can't stand by what he did, but despite that, Eren fans are going to hate me, I know, because of what I just said, but before this, people were telling me that Eren has always, how could you love Eren even before this? Because he killed people before, and he was just like Reiner and them. And then the example that they used was when, remember when innocent people got killed when they were after Annie? They went after Annie, and innocent people ended up getting killed because they were fighting. I'm sorry, but there to me is a huge difference, a gigantic difference between what Reiner and them did, because that's what people compared. People compared Reiner and them trashing the city and wanting to do it a second time, killing innocent people. They said that's the same thing as when innocent people got hurt when they tried to get to Annie. But to me, there's a world of difference between purposefully going in to kill innocent people versus trying to get Annie to go underground so that no one gets hurt, then sending a bunch of people to try and restrain her so that she can't transform. That was plan B. And then she ended up being transformed, and then innocent people ended up getting hurt while they were trying to hold her, get her back, right? There's a huge difference. They didn't go in to kill all those people within that district. Things turned out horribly, yes. And Erwin said, I will take responsibility. He didn't be like, oh, well, this was necessary and blah, 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 blah. He knows that people might get hurt, but they tried to avoid it as much as they could. But they needed to get Annie, and then he said, I will accept responsibility. And in the end, that's all Erwin ever did. He accepted responsibility, and he he didn't choose his dream over people and over the battle and trying to fight for freedom, because I don't even think he thought he deserved it. You know, because that's what he was always truly fighting for. Like, yes, his dream was pushing him forward, but in the end to him, fighting for humanity was more important than finding out the truth, finding out of what his dad said, blah, blah, blah. So I don't think that back then I didn't blame Eren for everyone that got hurt. They tried to do things differently. Things turned out horribly, but that's not what they were going after. So I don't understand why people expected me to see Eren as bad back then, because innocent people got hurt. Like, yes, that's happens in war. That's why war should be avoided at all costs. But they didn't. They tried to catch Annie in a different way. So they didn't go out to hurt people. So don't see that as the same thing. This, though, exactly the same thing. And Eren knows it. Eren said, I'm the same as you. And he went and became the same damn thing. And I wasn't going to stand by Reiner and excuse his actions. So I'm not going to stand by Eren and excuse his actions. I love his character. I think it's amazing. Everything he's done up to now. Well, before now. He was fighting for freedom. He was trying to protect his friends. He literally gave up his life to save Armin. I love him so much, and I won't not love him. But as a person from here, I think he made the wrong decision. And I'm not going to deny that. I'm not going to justify it because, he declared war first. So, yeah, that doesn't mean if someone smacks you, you just have to smack them back. It's not how you need to go about things. It's different choices. You might not like turning the other cheek. You might not like waiting until there's so many other things, but I wish I could. I'll sit down and maybe come up with, where is it now? Oh, how to stop the cycle. What other choices did Eren have? If you really want me to sit down and think about what else he could have done, I can do that and try to explain in more depth. The only problem with that is even if I sit down and think about that, people just always come up, oh, but then that would happen and then that would happen. So this was the best choice. This was the only choice. So they just shut it down. Regardless of what other options I give, they're just going to shut it down based on their headcanon. So that their answer is the right one the whole time. What they want to be the right choice is the right choice because they'll see everything going a certain way. And we don't. The thing is, we don't know. And I still stand by the easiest choice is not the right choice. And it might be difficult to turn the other cheek, but I would think that at least abiding by your time, waiting for to make your move when you can just attack, like, not civilians. You were literally there. You could have, I don't know, when they were on their way to set out for Paradis, like, if he didn't do what he did there, people from all around would have been like, oh, Willie Tiber, you're so right. We'll sacrifice a couple of soldiers to help you in your whole idea to go kill the devils. But they're devils in their head. It's still imaginary devils. So they'll maybe help a little bit, but what Eren went and did was he proved his point, so now it's gonna be so much more difficult because now the whole world is against them. And not just, oh, well, since Willie says so, I guess we'll stand by them. No, now it's, you killed Willie. Willie was right. You killed our people that were there. We're sending everyone we've got. Kill the devils. Kill the devils. You don't think it would have been easier to fight back? Because they were fighting anyway. You know, they've been fighting all this time anyway. But now they made the whole world was already their enemy. But now they just made it so much more difficult for themselves. They could have gone about it better and prove to the world. I'm watching currently One Piece. I think I mentioned this last time. I may have mentioned briefly. I'm currently watching I think I mentioned it in my notes. Where did I mention it? Oh, I don't know. Oh, here. There were many reasons various places were ready to fight. One big thing happened that acted as a catalyst and the war began. Places chose a side or remained neutral, and one side lost while the other side won. But everyone lost a lot. I feel like if you're going to make a peace treaty, the intent should be peace, not revenge. There's a really good One Piece arc that I think handles or expresses this theme beautifully. And then I added the arc name and stuff there in my notes. I don't want to spoil things, but it's about reaching out to understand, making peace, and cultivating equality instead of perpetuating hatred and wrongness. Because that is what Eren did. He perpetuated hate and wrongness. If we do an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, we will be a blind and toothless world. And that's what they could have... I don't know. I can't come up with anything myself right now on the spot, but I feel like if we could see those meetings that they had with Historia and Hanj and Levi and Armin, I feel like Armin is so smart, he could have come up with a plan to, yes, fight back, but also maybe prove to the world that we're not the devils that they say we are, you know? And yeah, in your head you might think, oh no, but it wouldn't have turned out differently. It wouldn't have da-da-da-da. That's fine. But if things aren't going to turn out differently, don't, like, let's say if someone says, I can't come up with an example. All I can say is, if people are going to see me as a villain, if people are going to see me as a bad person, I let them see me that way. I will continue to act, though, the best way that I can. If people attack me, I'm going to fight back. But I refuse to become what they say I am. I refuse to, like, at least that much, I don't know, integrity. I don't let them do that. Because when Reiner and them went through the walls and they ended up seeing that they're not devils, that planted seeds in their head. In Reiner's head, in Annie's head, and if they could plant more of those seeds, eventually things will turn around. But all they did now was perpetuate the hatred and the violence and the murder and the wrongness. So I cannot, it's fine if you support Eren. It's fine if you think that, you know, he had no other choice. But where I'm coming from, I don't think that that's how he went about that. And I'm so happy to see Mikasa wasn't on board with this. They weren't all, this wasn't part of all of their plan. I'm so happy to see that they maybe wanted to go about things differently. So I can't wait for more from our side, my side, the side I chose. I mean, or the side that I grew up with. That's wrong way to say that, but I was, you know, anyone is born on a certain side. We're born as a certain gender. Well, you know, you can change that if you grow up or if you decide differently, but we're born as either in a certain group. God, I don't even know if I can say that. We're born as South Africans, and we're born as Americans, and we're born as Japanese people, and then where was I going with this? Because now I was worried about saying we're born as a certain gender. I don't want to be cancelled for that. Oh, in the same way, I was introduced to one side, and you're always going to live or come from that perspective. As I was born as a South African, regardless of how much I try and understand the rest of the world, regardless of how much time I spend in Japan, if I ever were to go there, I always spent my first 27 years in South Africa. So I can't change that. I'm always going to come from that perspective. And the same with here. You know, for the first 3 seasons, I spent that time with the Eldians from Paradiso. They are my side. I can't come from a different place. So I can criticize them. I can say, Aaron, I don't agree with what you just did there, but they're still my people. So that is why I know people always go, and it kind of annoys me. It's a little annoying, but it's not wrong. It's just a little bit annoying when people are like, I don't choose a side. I'm like, okay. I've learned in anime that there's no right or wrong. Yeah, okay. I know. There's no right and wrong. Anyone can do whatever they want. And you're just going to be neutral because... Blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry. I am on the side of Hadi up to the point where, as a whole, they decide to do what Aaron did. But they didn't. Mikasa was like, look what you've done. You've done things that we can't undo. So it says to me that, as a whole, it was Aaron's decision and he is to be held responsible. And I can be mad at him, but I'm not going to be mad at my side. My side is still my side. And I have my side. I want them to come together with the others, the people from the Eldians and the rest of the world. I want the whole world to live in peace, yes. But the Eldians from Paradis are still my side. I'd love for everyone to live happily and in peace, but I have a side, you know. And that doesn't mean I will agree with anything my side decides. Of course not. If South Africa were to do something against another country, like, I don't know, drop an atomic bomb for no reason, of course I'll say, what the fuck, South Africa? My side was wrong, but they're still my side. And I will do what I can to stop people from my side doing the bad things, like what Aaron did. But, you know, my side is my side. I can't undo that. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say. I have a note here about Willie. He knew. He planned all of this, and Aaron played right into his hand. 215, what was here? Oh wait, did I finish scoring? Oh no, I didn't finish scoring. So, characters, 10 out of 10. Levi showed up. Sasha, Connie, Jean, fucking Flock. What is your name? I don't like you. I never liked you. I don't claim you. You're not from my side. No, I'm joking. But no, I don't like him. From back when he told Aaron and Mikasa like, oh, and Armin like, oh, you should have died. Aaron should have been blah, blah, blah. I wanted to smack him from there. Now I just want to smack him even more. Sorry, I'm joking mostly. Enjoyment. I would give it a... Oof. It's difficult. I always say to score enjoyment. I would say investment. How invested was I in this episode? I would say a 9 out of 10. The only thing that took me a bit out of it was the visuals. A little bit. But it was near perfect. It was great. So overall, a 9.5 for this episode from me. And then just a few things that I wanted to point out. 215. We still don't know who they are. Oh, there's conspirators working with Paradis. So who are these conspirators? Where's my notes? Where's my pen? I lost it. Did I drop it? Oh, here it is. Conspirators. Who? Then 305. Most of them will be aliens. They're spawn of the devil. So is this what you would call, I don't even want to say the word because it could be a little bit controversial. I'd rather like show a video from someone. Maybe I should add a video to my doc, to my Google Doc notes or something about the concept of like white guilt. You know, people that did nothing wrong, but they hate. You see that a lot these days. Online, there's videos about it showing how people hate their own race because they've been told, oh, your race did this and this and this, and you're so terrible, and then they're like, yes, we're terrible, and we have to make up for it. We have to save the poor black people because of what our ancestors did. All these, and then they just end up being those people end up being racist because they feel like they have to save black people, and like, but they also hate their own race because we're so bad. I hate my skin color. I hate that I'm white. And I'm like, and that's just, is that what this is? Because he's like, he was willing to sacrifice his own life, and he hates his own people even though they did nothing. Like, they weren't the ones that did what the Eldians of the past did, so, but he still thinks they're spawn of the devil. Like, because here he's talking about the innocent people that he sacrificed, but he doesn't care because they're spawn of the devil. So is that similar to white guilt, the concept? I have watched a couple of videos on that topic, so I will add a link for it in my notes if you want to understand who I'm talking about when I mentioned that. And then Gabi's character. At 1740, she had eyes pretty much like Aaron's eyes. It reminded me of him a lot. And the anger that he had. And it kind of, it shows that whole cycle because, you know, Aaron's mother was eaten, innocent people were killed, and he got angry. And now innocent people were killed in front of her, and now she's angry. And yeah, it just showcases that cycle that it keeps happening. And just from the one side to the next side, and the one side to the next side. Like, where do you stop it? If you don't be the bigger person, if I had to put it like in an easy way, if you can't see the bigger picture and see that, oh, I mean, I've done bad things in a war. Our side has killed innocent people, but she doesn't see them as innocent people, of course, but she can't see the bigger picture right now, so that is why it keeps perpetuating. And the problem is that Aaron knows more than she does at this point, and still he chose to perpetuate that, and that's why I'm so mad at him right now. But anyway, so yeah, at 1740 she had eyes like Aaron, and I thought that was interesting. But also what was interesting was the irony behind how horrifying and how angry she is. Like, there's kind of irony in that too, because, you know, she, in the first episode, we saw her almost enjoy a war, or at least, enjoy is probably not the right word, but she kind of had to, but she was like, yeah, I can do this. And then she did that whole thing where she tricked them, and I mean, they weren't innocent people at the very least. They were soldiers that was shooting at her side, and she kind of faked being hurt or something. And then, remember that happened in episode 1, and she was so proud of herself for accomplishing that. And I mean, Aaron did something worse because he killed innocent people, but it's just ironic how, you know, how she felt in one war versus one fight, one battle, versus how she's feeling in this battle now. It's a very contrasting to see her go from, yeah, fighting, I'm the winner, I'm so strong, blah, blah, to, oh shit, my side is losing. It's horrifying, my friends are dying. Like, it was just, to me, it's not like, haha, look at you now. No, not at all. It's just, it was ironic for me to see how much she, as a person, how her actions, obviously, and how her feelings are different from one battle to the next battle, when both battles are just honestly horrifying. But this one is more horrifying. Like, if there was a scale of horrifying and wrong things, this would be higher up on the scale of horrifying, because at least that was soldiers, and this is just innocent people who have nothing to do with anything, really. I wonder what if things were left over to Armin. If, I don't know how much Aaron acted of his own accord at this point, I don't know, but I wonder if Armin were to be in charge of their actions and what they did here in response to this declaration of war. I wonder what they would have done differently, because I do think that had Aaron not acted out of his own, Armin would have done things differently. I do think that. And Armin is my new favorite boy. And is Falco and Reiner now dead? There's no way they could have survived that unless Reiner, Armor Titan, transformed in time. Did he though? Could he have? I don't know. Could have. He is an Armor Titan, so he could heal quickly. He could have. I don't know. Falco though, he must. I don't know. Okay, but for now, that is all I have to say. What else did I write here last time? I can just quickly go through my notes for the last episode. There were people talking about Eren isn't or can't be controlled by King Fritz's will, blah, 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 blah. I didn't say King Fritz. I said I think he could be influenced by the Attack Titan's will. I thought this because of the eye flashing. We've seen it happen before, like how King Fritz's will controlled those who inherited the Founding Titan. It's just a theory. If it's not true, obviously, then it was his choice, and he fully just became what he hated for his whole life, 100%. What I was trying to say here was, I wasn't talking about King Fritz's will influencing Eren. I was talking about the Attack Titan. I thought I made that pretty clear. In the same way that King Fritz's will influences the people who inherited his Titan, I thought it could be possible, a theory that the Attack Titan has that same kind of will that could influence those who inherit the Attack Titan. Because, for example, Eren Kruger did unthinkable things. He was able to keep moving forward like the Attack Titan keeps moving forward, to the point where I feel like, how did he even do that as a person? How could he like hold through, keep moving forward through all of what he had to do to his own people? And could it be theory? So please stop telling me, no, you're wrong, King Fritz can't, because he's not the royal blood. It's a theory that since King Fritz's will directly controls his inheritors, could it be that the Attack Titan, its nature influences, or the nature of the Attack Titan influences its users? That's what I was trying to theorize about. Okay? So by that I mean, like, let's see here. Trying to think of an example. You know how some cats or dogs are known for specific personalities or for specific traits? Like certain dogs, like sheep dogs, are used to herd for that and that, because they're better at that and that. And like animals have instincts. They don't need to be taught to do things always. They just know to do them. Could it be that Titans have, like, becoming a Titan, inheriting a Titan's power, could that power influence the nature of your power? Could it influence I have a similar theory about My Hero Academia. I have a theory that their quirk influences their personality. Like the kid that talks to animals, his personality is it could be nature, it could be nurture, it could be a little bit of both. But the kid who has the power to talk to animals, he has a very shy and reserved personality, could develop from his particular power. Bakugo has an explosive personality. He has an explosive power. There were other ones I named once. I forgot exactly now because I haven't watched it in a while. But I'm just saying, like, could it be that the Attack Titan's power influences? We've always seen that Eren was quite a passionate kid. Plus now with the Attack Titan's power, and if you just see how because of the memories, he's seen all these memories. So imagine if someone's whole life's memories and feelings were suddenly imprinted onto you. do you not think to some extent that will influence your decisions or control your actions? Like, because you now not only have your own thoughts in your head, you have other people's thoughts. So do you not think that that's a possibility that it could influence a person's mind, a person's decisions? And that's what I meant by the Attack Titans will. Because now all the people that before him, their choices, their actions, what they took, especially when emotions are very strong, if those emotions are suddenly imprinted onto you as if they were your own, it almost, to me, feels like it's almost natural, like that will influence your own. The thing is, it won't become your own because you also have your own memories. But his own memories are pretty muddled probably between everyone else in his head and all other people's decisions and thoughts and actions. So to me, it feels kind of natural that his actions are not only his own actions anymore. They're almost controlled by the heavy responsibility, willpower forced upon him by the Attack Titan, because he didn't choose to get the Attack. He didn't choose to accept the Attack Titan's power that was forced onto him by his father. But, I mean, it wasn't like his dad had ill intentions, but now the Attack Titan has only done that for all the time. He's attacked. And now that's all that's in Aaron's head. It's his... He can't almost, I'm not saying for sure, I don't know, it's a theory. It's like he can't make other decisions because all that's in his head anymore is attack. And so I just thought, is that what influenced him, you know? And it doesn't matter. It doesn't excuse it. He still needs to be fucking detained. Held responsible for what he did. He was wrong. What he did was wrong. He should be put in prison for life. He should be reformed if possible. Like try and get those memories and focus on bringing up his own power again, his own person. But he can't make up for, just like Reiner could never, he could never make up for everything he's done. All he could do was hopefully become better and not perpetuate those actions. But you can't, by denying his responsibility, whether Reiner or Aaron, they can't become better. They can't change. They'll just perpetuate. If you don't tell them, like, you're wrong. If you don't hold them responsible. If you don't... Ow. But anyway, those are my thoughts on today's episode. Next week's episode is called Assault. I'll be watching it hopefully as soon as it comes out. So see you next week.